of what was canceled was, a lot of what was canceled was important stuff that was doing good work. We didn't really have a credible climate plan from the Government of Canada until April of last year. It wasn't the best plan. It didn't include a carbon tax, but it did include some regulations which had not yet been passed. They'd taken the preliminary steps to be ready to regulate by listing greenhouse gases on Schedule 1 of the Canadian Environmental Protection Act so that they then could regulate. We don't know if that's going to move forward or not. Stephen Harper and Ronna Ambrose always talk about how we're going to get a Made in Canada plan and just wait for it. I'm pretty sure it's a Made in Houston plan and there's nothing worth waiting for, but one of the things we could keep pushing for is regulate. We've got these greenhouse gases listed on CEPA, we can move ahead to regulate. The other thing about the one-time challenge is that it was more than Rick Mercer in the ads. It was actually funding a lot of community-based organizations to do energy audits, to do public information. It was getting not only the word out, the best way to educate people is one-on-one, and when someone shows up at your house and walks through and says, look, this is what you could achieve if you did insulation. This is what you can do if you can strip all your windows, or if you put in an energy efficient furnace. Those jobs, those people, that capacity in intelligent education has been killed. They also killed the program for energy efficiency for low-income housing. They also killed the accelerated capital cost allowance for renewables, because they've still kept it on tar sands and fossil fuels where it should be killed. They've killed it where it was just coming in on renewables. There's a whole bunch of things that just got killed that were beginning to make a difference. And they were able to discredit them by saying, well, the emissions have gone up so high, it's clear none of those things are working. Those things were only brought in April of last year, and they were just beginning to work. And in terms of what could be done through regulations, of course, regulations make sense. Anytime you hear a huckster like Bjorn Longboard, the so-called skeptical environmentalist, who's neither skeptical nor environmentalist, but what he does is he'll say, look, things are getting so much better, just look. When you look at his examples, they're always the places where government has taken regulatory action. Just look, DDT is going down in the environment. Sure, DDT was banned. Just look, lead is going down in blood levels in children. Sure, lead and gas was banned. When you regulate and take clear action, you get results. No one would deny that. So we do need to regulate to reduce greenhouse gases, and we need, even more fundamentally, to get the price right. And when you get the price right, industry, government, homeowners respond because they know what their own bottom line is. And that's where we get the biggest savings, is by having industry get clear signals. And by the way, not all industry is anti-Kyoto. A lot of strong Canadian corporate leaders, including companies that I never would have expected, like Alchem, Falconbridge, Horse-BC Hydro, no surprise, Shell Canada, a long list of big industry players, Bombardier, sent Paul Martin a letter at the beginning of the Montreal conference last fall to say, give us clear targets. Make them binding. Bring them out to 2030 and 2050 so we all know where we're going, and then we can innovate to get there. And those very same companies are now saying to Stephen Harper, you've just made our lives more difficult. We were ready to move. You have economically disadvantaged the Canadian industry by bailing on Kyoto and signaling that Canada is jumping into the George Bush camp. You have sabotaged economic measures that made us more competitive. That's what some industry leaders are saying, so we need to get that message out too.